Hey, this is Rich over at TVP Live with another quick tips tutorials brought to you by Photoshop Elements Custom Tutorials Group. And let's jump right in with today's poster. Want to know how to separate just the universal letters with their background and get rid of everything else. Now, it's not that hard, but because you have to work on each letter, it might take a little bit of time to do that. So I'm going to show you with the first couple letters, and then I'll just fast forward the rest. Basically, let's first get rid of everything else that we don't need. I'm going to grab the cropping tool and start over here and just grab what we need right around there, and then I will just go ahead and let go, and I'll hit the green check mark, which will give us exactly what we want here. The next issue is that the color is kind of like faded and sort of all off. So I'm going to come up here to enhance and hit the auto smart fix and see what it does. Boom, that made it better, but I think we can work on that a little bit more. So I'll go back to enhance, come down to adjust lighting, go to brightness and contrast. Now I'm going to start with the contrast first because you can see as I lower it, look what happens. It gets really dull, and as I brighten the contrast or bring it up, it gets really nice and high chroma values, which look really good for this kind of thing. So we're going to leave that way up there, up here like that. And then with the brightness, I can play with that and bring it lower or brighter, just somewhere where we like it, somewhere around there. I think that looks good. Here's the before, after. So right off the bat, it's looking a lot better. Now we have two different things to do. Is one is grab the letters, and two is grab the background. But the problem is that we got these characters in the way. So there's no way I can grab the magic tool, come down here, and grab this I, because what happens is, as you can see, the marching ant stops at the hand here, so it's not going to grab all of the letter. There's no way to do that. Neither with the background. If I grab the background of this one, you can see it's like going all over the place. That just doesn't work very well with the magic tool. So we're going to have to use good old elbow grease and do this by scratch. And I'll start over here with the U. I'm going to first create the backgrounds, and then I'll create the letters. So each one is going to have to use their own layer. So I'm going to pop on a new layer up here, and it's a new blank layer. That's just going to be for the background for the U. I'm going to grab the polygon lasso tool, come down here, make sure that it's not the lasso but polygon lasso. That'll give us the marching ants. I'll zoom in a little bit, and I'm just going to trace the outside of the background of the letter. And I come down here where you don't see it, you just kind of have to make it up, and I'll say it's right around here, boom, and then left click right here, boom, come back up to the top, and I'll double click, which will close the whole loop. Now, on that new layer, I want to lay down the color of the background. Where do we get the color? We come down here to the color palette. I'm going to left click on that. It opens up the palette here. And if I move the mouse outside of the palette, it turns into a little eyedropper. So I can grab right around here, come back up here, and you see that little circle there? That's where it picked. I'm going to make it a little bit brighter red by dragging that circle up here. I can drag it anywhere I want. I'm going to drag it up here so it's even brighter like that. I'll hit OK, grab the paint bucket, and fill in that rectangle. Boom! That filled in the rectangle of the background of the U. I'm going to continue doing that with the N, so I'll hit Control D to deselect, which will allow me to use the polygon tool again. And now I'll start the background of the N. But remember what we said earlier, we want to give each letter their own layer. So I'm going to start a new layer. And since I see that this green layer goes behind this orange layer and kind of behind the red, I'm going to drag that layer behind like that. So it's behind the red here. And grab the polygon tool and once again do the same thing we did with the first one and trace the rectangle, which comes all the way out to here. It comes down here where you don't see it. You just kind of have to make it up. So let's just say it's right around, let's say there. And then we're going to come down to about here. And we're going to double click. That will automatically come to the top and close the polygon, which gives us the marching ants. Once again, we're going to grab the color palette and then come back with the eyedropper tool, and I'm going to grab this green right around there, come down here. I see the green there. I can change it a little bit, brighten it, darken it. Let's just make it a little bit more green right around there. I like it there. I'll hit OK, grab the paint bucket, and once again fill in that background. I'm going to hit Control D to deselect, go to the next one. Now I can do the rest of these letters, but for time's sake for this video, I'm just doing the first three letters. Let me turn that green one back on, and now you can see the first three. Now let's do the letters. Because we tried the magic tool earlier, and these letters, you can see they're fuzzy on the edges, it's not going to grab them very well, so we're just going to have to do it by scratch. So I'll click on the original background of the first one, and it's up here, layer number one. It's at opacity of 100%. We can't see the letter through that, so let's change that 100%. I'll hide that to 50% and watch what happens. Now you can see the original letter underneath. I'll zoom in a little bit and grab the polygon tool again, and I'm just going to trace the letter. So I'll go boom, I'll left click here, boom, and it doesn't have to be totally perfect because no one's going to see these little jaggedy edges. And I'll hit boom, come up here, click, come up here, click, come down here, click, and then do a lot of shorter clicks to make this radius nice and soft looking. And since the top edge of this one matches right up there, I don't have to go all the way to the top. I could just double click right here, and that closes the whole loop, creating a polygon. When I hit delete, boom, it deletes the red out of that background. I can control D to deselect. Let's bring that opacity back up to 100. I can type 100, or I can click this little arrow and then drag that to 100. And you can see that's really nice. So basically what we have is a red rectangle with a U cut out of it. We don't have to work on that background yet. We can do that later. Let's do the same thing with the next one. Since we have the green chosen, all I have to do is hit delete, boom, and that deleted the N letter out of the green background. I'll hit Control D to deselect. Let's bring the opacity back up to 100 on that background. Now, if you want to see these two letters, what we've done, I'm going to turn off the original layer of Universal here. I'll turn it off. Let's go ahead and add a white background so that will display the letters the way we want them to look. So I'm going to create a layer beneath all of these new layers we created, but above the universal. How do we do that? I'll choose the universal, and then I'll hit the layer button up here, and it created a blank layer. Come over to the color palette, left click, choose pure white. How do we do that? Wherever the circle is, just left click and it'll follow your mouse. Drag that up to the upper left corner. That gives us pure white. How do we know? Because right here under RGB it says 255, 255, 255. That is pure white. I'll hit OK. Grab the paint bucket and just click anywhere. And boom, it gives us a pure white background. And that's what we're looking for. Now, I can toggle the white so you can see the original through it like this. See that? I'm toggling the white background on and off. Why do we want to do that? Just to make sure that everything's all lined up. But let's go ahead and keep it on. Oh, but what we notice is that these backgrounds have an outline, and so do the letters. So let's create that so it looks similar. I'm going to turn that white background back on, come back to this first rectangle. I'll choose it. Then I'm going to right click and come down here to edit layer style. Now that's going to give us a lot of choices here to do drop shadows or to do a stroke, which is what we want because the outline is basically a stroke. So I'm going to come here to stroke, and it automatically starts up here on size 1. The colors here and the position is on the outside. Let's go ahead and change that to like 10 and see what happens. The outside changes and also the inside because we cut a letter out of that background. So in any part of that background that has an edge, we'll add a stroke to it. That looks really nice. We'll do the same thing with this one. Just choose it, right click, edit layer style, hit stroke, change that from 1 to 7, and it's set on the outside. That's what we like. We'll hit OK. And that's how you get each letter. When we compare it to the original, you can see it's looking actually better than the original. If the outline's a little bit too thick, I can always right click, edit layer style, and change that from a 7 to, let's say, a 5. And we like that. Let's go ahead and turn this white background back on, and this is how we get the nice logo letters without anything else. Now I'll go ahead and just do the rest really fast so you can see what it looks like at the end. letters. I'll right click, edit layer style, stroke, change that to a 6, 5, and make sure this is set to outside. And hit OK. Do the next one. Right click, edit style, stroke, change that to a 5. Make sure that this is set to outside. And there we go. We got our whole universal logo here. And if I turn off our white background, it'll show the original right through. And you can see that our new letters completely copy over the old letters. So let's turn that white background back on, and there we go. All we have to do is merge all these letters and save your file as a JPEG or whatever you want. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Rich calling it quits, saying over and out.